Thank you, first of all, for having me here in India. I'm so happy to be here. You have no idea how happy I am because I think really that I'm always optimistic. You have to be optimistic when you're working in this field, but I think this will be a tremendous game changer. I've been looking forward to this movie for so long, and I'm not here on behalf of myself. I'm here on behalf of thousands of people in Norway who are fighting the same battle as Shagaria is. And you don't know how much this movie means to all of the people in Norway who are suffering from injustice. And I've been a human rights advocate for more than 20 years. And when I studied law more than 20 years ago, all of my fellow students said that, why do you waste your time studying human rights law? We have the best system in the world. It's wasteless. Study something else. But I always wanted to go my own ways, and I never thought of Norway as the perfect country, but it likes to portray itself as a good country. And in many ways it is a good country, but it's a small country. And of course, I didn't have any intention to work with child welfare cases in the first beginning. But 13 years ago, some families approached me and said, can you please look into our cases and see if they are in compliance with human rights acts? Easy as that. I said, I will do that. And all of a sudden, I realized that neither the government of Norway don't pay any respect to the human rights acts at all. Because in Norway, we have this very strange system. You know, it's a very small country, far out north. Nobody really cares about this small country. And they can do pretty much what they want. And you know what upsets me the most about the Norwegian authorities or the Norwegian elite is that they have so much money, you know, the government or the elite, that they think that they can do whatever they want. They're like this spoiled kid who's in the classroom, and they think that they can do whatever they want to whoever they want. So, and Sagarida and Surania are already very popular in Norway. They are human rights heroes in Norway. So I think we should give them an applause for their efforts in Norway. So of course it was natural for me to come here and show my support. I've known Surania for many years. I'm so impressed with her, you know, her compassion about human rights. We should have thousands of her in Norway and would have been much better. But the thing about Norwegian lawyers is that they are afraid to combat the system because they depend upon the system. And this movie, which I saw yesterday, and I have not, personally, I have two children. They are now grown-ups. They're 18 and 20. I've never had any issues with Barnevernet myself, even though I'm not a very popular lawyer in Norway. So you should think they could attack me as well. But I've seen so many families, immigrant families as well as Norwegian families, who are suffering the same battle as Shagaria was doing, and for so many years. And there is no way you can restore the sufferings they have been through. And when I saw the movie yesterday, I was like, you know, I got goosebumps, and I got emotional because I know how many families around in my country, Norway, who will feel some kind of like comfort and some kind of support by watching this movie. So, you know, this is maybe the greatest event, the bilateral agreement between Norway and India ever. So, and when I read this ambassador, I'm not particularly a fan of Norwegian ambassadors because they always try to hide the truth and tell how good Norway is. And when I read the headline, Norway cares. No, Norway doesn't care. They care about money, and they are targeting. And one friend of mine said, I saw the movie yesterday because you advised me to go. So they had the movie in Norway too yesterday. He said, is it really that bad? And I said, I've been telling you this for 20 years. So this has been going on for so long. Norway started, you know, with immigrant families back in the 50s and 60s when they had these gypsies coming to Norway. And more than 1,500 children were removed from these gypsies families traveling around in Norway because they wanted to assimilate them into the Norwegian culture. So this has been going on for so long. And what's happening now is that Norway is a very, very, you know, a small country with 5.5 million people, but has the largest CPS budget in the world if you measure compared to the per capita. And a French lawyer, I met a French lawyer some years ago in an international human rights conference in Paris, and he's told me that, you know, Marius, that in France there are 60 million people, in your country there are 5, so there are 12 times as many people in France than in Norway, but you have 3 times higher CPS budgets than we do. And that kind of reflects what's going on in Norway compared to other European countries, that this is big business. And my friend yesterday said this, is it really true that are they really stealing children? And of course, yeah, they are. That's the truth. So, and every aspect of this movie yesterday, I will give that movie 10 out of 10. Not only because I'm involved in this, because the way I was so impressed by the characters, of course, these social workers. Let's start with the social workers. I love them because that's how they're trained. You know, social workers in Norway are trained to make, when they're doing the visitation rights before they take the children into public care, they're trained to make the families uncomfortable. It's actually stated by the guru of Norwegian child welfare. Her name is Kari Killen. She's 88 years old now. But her lesson books for social workers says that, in her books, it says that it's important to make the parents as uncomfortable as possible to see how they react when they're stressed. So can you imagine? So that's the idea, and that's how we saw yesterday as well in your movie, that they're there for months in order for you to feel, or in order for the families to feel uncertain. And I think every parent would feel uncertain if someone came home and you know that if you don't behave well, they will take your children. That's the truth. So that's how it starts. And then you start, so that, you know, those scenes with these social workers coming into Stavanger and doing this like investment stuff was so accurate. And then you have the so-called county boards, which are not even tribunals. These are boards made by the government, and they're controlled by the government. And the statistics says that more than 90% of all the cases in the county boards are won by the government. So how can children or how can families have a chance? And then this follows up all the way in the legal judiciary system in Norway, which we have a very, very biased legal system that always supported the government, not only in CPS cases, but in general. So everything about this movie told something I can familiarize with. Even the scenes from Estonia, because this movie was mainly made in Estonia. And I recognized one of these buildings, and 6-7 years ago I had a seminar in that building, so it was kind of funny, about the Norwegian child welfare system. And of course the Norwegian government didn't like that I was there to tell about the Norwegian government, how they were actually violating human rights. So, and they gave a lot of money to all these European countries, Estonia included. They give like almost $1 billion per year to Estonia to make Estonia implement the same CPS system as we have. So the day after I made this interview, I was on the front page of Estonian newspapers who are very pro-Norwegian because they depend upon the Norwegian money, and said that I was a spy for Russia. So that's kind of like says, you know, this comes like Cyrano says with a battle. But anyway, Norway has lost 15 cases in the European Court of Human Rights since September 2018. That proves that what we are telling here today is truth. The lawyers of the highest court in Europe are saying exactly the same thing as we are. Unfortunately, the Norwegian government doesn't care a calorie about these judgments because they think, like I said, that they have so much money, they have so much power that they can do whatever they want. And that's why I think this movie will be a game changer, because finally the truth will come out. I think you should be, if I could nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize this year, I would be happy to do so. And that's why I would finally, as my last statement, really say thank you very much, not only for your wonderful hospitality and your wonderful food and everything, but that you're really making so much more support than you can ever imagine. So on behalf of the thousands of people who I'm representing here today, I would like to thank you so much, and I'm sure that this will be the most important meeting between Norway and India ever.